this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Work can be a little weird. Cringy training seminars, coworkers who won't stop talking about their plant, forgetting the mute button at an inopportune moment. We have to deal with a lot on any given workday. Sometimes it can feel hard to thrive and move forward in your career. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in. LinkedIn helps you get ideas and insights from experts in your field, connect with people professionally, grow your network, and access tools designed to help you find the right fit for your next role. Whether you're just getting started, figuring out your next move, or looking to accelerate your career, LinkedIn is built to support you at every stage because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more. Hey, and welcome to The Short Stuff. I'm Josh, and there's Chuck and Jerry's here too, and we're just zooming through the universe. Trio of cool cats who apparently can survive in the vacuum of space.
That's right. We're talking about Saturn's rings, and big thanks to Dr. Ian O'Neill, who wrote this for HowStuffWorks.com. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about Saturn's rings because semi-recently, in the grand scheme of things, like 6 years ago or so, and in the time since, we have learned a couple of kind of cool things about Saturn. One, not cool as in like, hey, it's good that this is happening, but cool as in we never knew this stuff.
Yeah.
One, in the next 100 million years, Saturn's rings will no longer be around. They're going to disappear completely.
It will be denuded.
And two, because of what we're going to tell you about in a second, we learned a lot more about those rings and the fact that they are a lot younger than we thought.
Chuck, that was such an amazing intro. That was great stuff, man.
Hey, Jerry just said we were on fire before we recorded.
So we can thank our friends at NASA for launching the Cassini mission.
They had more
probe. Yeah.
NASA there was a three what do you call it?
A menage a trois.
Sure. NASA and we got to shout out the Euro Space Agency.
The ESA, sure.
And the Italian Space Agency, which is not the ISA, but it's the ASI, don't ask.
Very nice. So this Cassini mission, great stuff, Chuck. It was flying around Saturn for, I saw 13 years. I think Dr. O'Neill says 13 years. I saw up to 20.
Yeah, they launched
20?
in 97, but it entered the orbit of Saturn in 2004.
There's the discrepancy.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot about Saturn, which is, by the way, one of the gas giants of our solar system.
You know who else is?
Who?
Jerry.
She is kind of gassy, isn't she?
He's a gas giant.
So we learned a lot about Saturn, and one of the things we learned, number one, that there's tons of moons around Saturn. Mm-hmm. Number two, that there's some of these moons might be habitable. And so as a result, when they launched the Cassini mission, they were like, okay, we've got to figure out a way to dispose of the Cassini probe without just crash landing it, because, it could be lousy with Earth germs on it still.
Sure.
We don't want to infect one of these moons. So they burned it up in the atmosphere instead. And I realized that this is like the NASA equivalent of wearing a mask.
Explain.
Well, they didn't want to contaminate the moon, so they burned the thing up in the atmosphere.
I got you.
Yeah, it was way better on paper.
Yeah, sorry. You actually wrote that out?
Yeah, I actually did. Some of them are so good I don't want to forget them, so I write them down.
Yeah, I got you.
And that's a good example of it.
So that's what happened, right? This thing was low on fuel. And so they did that. They burned it up in that upper atmosphere.
They did. But they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do something crazy. Cassini's at the end of its mission. I'm going to say her. Cassini's at the end of her mission. She's been a stout and true pioneer for us, teaching us all sorts of great stuff about Saturn. But one thing we don't know about is what is between Saturn's rings and the planet itself.
That's right.
That gap between the planet and its innermost ring. What's going on there?
Yeah, and not only what's going on there, but what can we learn, about the rings and about Saturn as a whole if we learn about what's going on in between those rings? They thought, well, I'm sure we're going to find some gases, but they basically thought it's empty in between there. As Dave Matthews would say, there's space between, and that's what they thought. But what they found was not that at all. What they found was a virtual rainstorm of particles and elements and molecules raining down between the gaps. And what they found out was, hold on a second, that is the rings sort of falling apart, right?
Yeah, they're dissolving it's falling into the atmosphere of Saturn, which is pretty cool. But what that implies is that since there's a finite amount of these rings, eventually they're going to dissolve. There won't be any rings any longer. And that was a big thing that they did not know before. They didn't know the age of the rings. They didn't know that the rings were slowly dissolving. And they learned it by sending Cassini on a crazy, screwy mission, flying orbits inside the gap between the planet and its innermost ring, which is really, really cool. And I say we take a break and we'll come back and talk about what Cassini taught us.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, here's a fact for you. In the United States, there is a break-in every 26 seconds, and that means that somewhere right now, an intruder is getting closer. And the problem with most security systems is that they only alert you after the break-in has started, and that's too late.
Well, that's what makes SimpliSafe different. They use alerts. SimpliSafe's US-based live agents, they identify threats on your property and help deter them before they actually break in. So the intruder never gets into your house. The crime is stopped before it even starts.
That's right. And another great thing about SimpliSafe is they have no long-term contracts. They give you peace of mind and great value with their monitoring deterrence plans because they just start at about $1 a day.
Yeah, SimpliSafe sent us a setup years back, and I still use mine every day.
Yeah, and apparently setup, you can do it by yourself in under 30 minutes, so it's a really good value and it doesn't take long.
So if you want to experience the SimpliSafe peace of mind, you can take advantage of the SimpliSafe discount offered to Stuff You Should Know listeners. Right now, you can get 50% off your new system by visiting simplisafe.com/stuff. That's half off at simplisafe.com/stuff. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Work can be a little weird. One minute you're in a meeting that could have been an email. The next you're trying to decode corporate jargon that somehow means nothing. And don't even get us started on the quick sync that turns into a 45-minute deep dive.
Yeah, well, the truth is figuring out your career isn't always straightforward. Whether you're trying to grow, pivot, or just stay relevant, it can feel like you're navigating it all on your own. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in.
That's right. LinkedIn can help you grow your career, helping you confidently navigate your path with insights, ideas, and inspiration from your professional community. You can stay up to date with the latest trends in your field, connect with people who get it, and discover opportunities tailored to your goals, your experience, and what actually matters to you.
Whether you're looking for something new or just trying to grow where you are, LinkedIn gives you the tools and connections to move forward with confidence. Because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
So, first off, we've been saying just Cassini. It was technically the Cassini-Huygens.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that anywhere.
But Huygens is kind of clunky, so everyone in Cassini just, I guess that was the Italian input.
Sure.
So Cassini sounds better. But one of the things they learned, like we said, is that these rings have about 100 million years to live, which sounds like a long time, and it is. But considering Saturn is about 4 billion years old, it's much shorter than they thought.
Did you say that it's raining 10 tons of material per second?
No, I didn't. That's a great stat.
It is. And it's hilarious that they went with 10 tons because it's 9,072 kilograms, but 10 metric tons is 10,000 kilograms.
Okay, if you say so.
Regardless, that's how much is raining down in particulate form. So that's a lot of particles that it's losing every second. But there's still so much of it that's going to take 100 million years to dissolve.
Yeah, totally. And here's, this is kind of tough stuff, but here's how I understand it and how they figured some of this stuff out.
All right.
Was while Cassini-Huygens was going through that ring plane, they said the people running the mission, that three-pronged menage a trois, as you said, said, you know what, those rings and those moons have gravitational pull, so why don't we just let it work its magic on the spacecraft and let it pull it a little bit in whatever direction it's going to go in, and that'll result in these little bitty changes to its trajectory, and we can measure those, and that'll allow us to find out the mass of this thing using magic.
Right. Yeah, they could detect fractions of a millimeter per second increases in acceleration. That's how sensitive the stuff that Cassini was sending back.
Cassini-Huygens.
Sure. It sounds like Jerry Lewis saying Cassini.
Cassini-Huygens.
Exactly.
Well, hey.
So what they were doing was they were figuring out the mass of the rings by figuring out how much the probe resisted the pull of Saturn itself.
Yeah.
Okay. And then by figuring out the mass of the rings, they could make a pretty good guess at the age of the rings, right? Because less mass would be younger, more mass would be older, because these things are spinning in a very tight orbit around Saturn. They're not like these solid things. It's kind of like an asteroid belt, but there's so much stuff in there that they actually appear as rings.
Yeah, Han Solo couldn't even navigate that asteroid field.
Not a chance. Yeah. And so the longer that they're around, the more space stuff they're going to attract. So there would be more mass the older they were, less mass the younger they were. But what they found out was that the predictions were way off, that what they came up with was just didn't make any sense. And what they figured out how to explain it was actually taught them a lot about what's going on inside of Saturn.
Yeah. As they figured out in the end because like we said, it was being altered by the tug of gravity, but it was also being altered by these big flows of material in that atmosphere at the equator, which was about 6,000 miles deep. And they were moving slower, about 4% slower than the upper atmospheric clouds that we could see. And that was sort of the discrepancy. It was an anomaly that they did not know about and therefore couldn't predict.
Right. So once they figured out that the mass of the rings are actually much lower than they thought, they took some other measurement from, I can't remember, some sort of waves, I guess gravitational waves, but I don't think that's what it was.
Density waves?
Yes. They had a measurement from before that they're like, that is way low. There must be some hidden mass in there that we're not detecting from the density waves. Mm-hmm. And when they did the calculations, they figured out, nope, that was actually a pretty good estimate. Yeah. These things are not as massive as you'd think. So they're made up of fairly light stuff. And because it's not massive and because the rings are still very bright, it suggests that there's not a lot of rocky crud mixed in there, which suggests that they're fairly young. So they estimate that the age of Saturn's rings are between 100 and 10 million years old.
Yeah, which is way off. Initially, they said anywhere, it depends, but from 4.5 billion years to maybe like 30 million years.
Right. Yeah. But so, yeah, they figured it out. What they think it is, Chuck, and by the way, I want to do a whole episode on Saturn. Uh-huh. But they
have fun with that.
They believe, no, it's going to be great. Remember our Venus episode was really fun.
Yeah.
So what they believe is that either the rings are made up of an icy comet that got caught in Saturn's orbit and was basically pulled apart by the gravity of Saturn, and it turned into spread out into a ring. So what you're seeing is a super spread out comet, which is pretty cool. It's also possible it's Moon that the same fate happened to. It just kind of crumbled and came apart. But the
Ken might say it's beach.
The upside of it is that we're going to do an episode on Saturn, so look for that one day.
Yeah, and the upside is that this could, I mean, if it was an errant comet, that could happen again to another planet. So there could potentially, in another 20, 30 million years, be another one of our beloved planets with their own rings.
That's right. And I said upside, I meant upshot, of course.
Of course.
And that, of course, means short stuff is out.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.